You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, Session 10.
Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where positivity and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha. I am your host, Iya Omileti Olubumi.
Hey there! Thank you so much for listening. Can you believe it? This is the 10th episode of the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, and I am super excited for your support. Wow. This podcast was just an idea late last year, and I am so glad that many of you have found it helpful, entertaining, and useful. Keep your ideas and your comments coming. Well, with that, let's go right in. This episode is a fun one. It covers folks who say, I'm not a fanatic. I just respect. So with that, let's get this party started. In life, you will meet a few types of folks in these traditions. Those who are all in. They dress in white every day. They wear their elekes out. They smoke a cigar when they pray. They do it all. And then you have those that they just respect. And then you have folks in between those spectrums. What are some of the thoughts on that? You will find folks that will say, well, that's okay that you respect, but remember, come at the end of the year for your cleaning, or that's okay that you do this and that and rob banks and kill kittens on the weekend, but just come every month for your rogation because we have to clean you up. They're not fanatics, but it's okay. So you'll find those. Here's the question. Is it okay? Is it really? Let me put this in another perspective. I'm going to revert back to Christianity and Catholicism because these two are big religions. A lot of people know how they work, and a lot of us were raised that way. Is it okay for someone to do bad thing XYZ from Monday through Saturday, or just, that Tuesday and Wednesday, but then go to church on Sunday, speak to the priest, get absolution, Orisha at home, has had readings and much work done, but does not really follow most of the taboos that are given. Everything is very selective. If there is a drumming, she will come. She will do that. Or if it's something else that's major that she won't go to, it's all very selective. Why? Because she's not a fanatic. And if you tell her, you better do this, or if not, you're going to get into an accident, let me tell you, she's going to do it. By the end of the day tomorrow, it's already done. But she it's just very selective. She doesn't interact with the spiritual items that she has in her house unless it is demanded of her after an important reading. And it's only for a certain period of time. It doesn't come out from her on a daily basis to do this, to connect, to pray, to commune. That's not what happens. And her response is, but I'm not a fanatic. That's not for me. That's for those, fanatics. I just respect. So it's like this. Respecting something does not mean that we are selective on what part we're going to listen to. It does not mean that when we dress in white, we don't steal, but when we're regular clothes and we're not wearing our elekes, we become kleptomaniacs. Respecting something means that we hold it in high regard. Does this mean that it is held in high regard only once a week? That's it? Maybe twice a week? Now here's the fun point. Does that mean that the above questions are applicable to those who are not in the religion, but they respect it? There are those folks who are not involved in any way in our traditions. But if you tell them, hey, I was at a misa and this came out for you, or you better come to a reading because something happened and I can't even tell you what happened, but something may happen to you and it came out that you need to go get a reading and you may need to get something done. They will do it because they're respectful of these traditions. I feel that this is slightly different from the above example, as this person is not involved, doesn't have initiations, is not a follower. This is a person who is respectful from afar. So we're going to move on instead to those folks who do the following. They show up at events. They go to spiritual masses. They get readings done. They will do occasional ebo or all ebos that are prescribed to them. They might or might not have elekes. They have warriors or something spiritual in their home that came out for them. These are the folks that we're going to focus on, not the ones who are really non-believers and they're not followers of our faith. These folks, I feel, are more than just a respectful observer. They're part of this, but they don't want to admit it to themselves. There are some folks who use these traditions as a problem fixer of sorts. It's their version of spiritual Google. I have a problem, find me an ebo, find me an answer, but that's it. I'm not going to adhere to the taboos that are given or any other rules, but just find me my spiritual answer, okay? If you know people like these, perhaps we can think of their challenges and have a bit of empathy or know where they are coming from. If this is you, don't tune me out just yet, please, as it may be a good fork in your spiritual road for you. So if this is you, perhaps it's time to find out your commitment to these traditions. Many people have come into these traditions for health, to help them with something, and all of that comes out and they do the bare minimum, but they just respect it. How then is this giving back to those entities who helped you in your time of need? This is not to point out a finger to you. These are just questions that we should ask. So what is a fanatic? According to the dictionary, yes, I looked it up, it says, a person filled with excessive and single-minded zeal, especially for an extreme religious or political cause. So this is for someone who is overwhelmingly zealous over their beliefs. Let me put it to you the way that I grew up. If you don't do this, God is going to kill you. Yeah, that's how I grew up. That would be a little overzealous, I would think. This is a person who feels so strongly about his or her faith that everything turns into the faith of status, ego, doom and gloom, and all of that stuff. And it becomes a really negative thing, just to name a few. When speaking to folks and they describe fanatics, they're actually describing followers. I'm going to explain. A fanatic is not a person who follows their taboos and works hard while keeping Orisha and Egun in mind on a daily basis. A fanatic person is not a person who does their ebos on a timely basis. A fanatic person is not a person who looks into their itas often or advice given in readings. A fanatic person is not a person who greets their warriors and prays to them daily. So what is one person to do? If this is you, let's go back and see why. Is this why you are confusing fanaticism with following through with the faith? Are you scared of going through further steps? Are you afraid of what might happen to you if you complete the next step in the traditions? Are you afraid of initiation? There's some people who refuse to do anything further because they're like, I don't want to get initiated. A little soul searching might be in order for you. This is not a judgment on you and how you live, but perhaps it's time to find out why come here only when help is needed, but don't do anything beyond that. The why is the key of this behavior. The truth is that these traditions might not be for you. That's the truth. There will be much more meaning and power in your life if you find a tradition that fully fits you and your needs. One that you don't have to be with one foot in it and the other foot out. I'll go back to Christianity for this as an example. There is something special if you take that Bible, you listen to its message, and you behave accordingly to that Bible all the time, not just when you're in church. Well, the same applies here. There is something special of following your taboos, listening to the message that Orisha gives, the messages from the ancestors, the wisdom that comes from your elders or from life, because wisdom can come from anywhere, and to put it into practice on a daily basis. This is respect, in my opinion. Respect to me is giving value and worth to something. This podcast episode hopefully will nudge those of you who have claimed that they just respect over to the side of the full followers, because now they can commit, because now it's more than respect, because now they're really, really part of the Orisha community, because now they want to give back, because now it's their turn to give back for all the things that have been given to them. So if you're on the fence, I strongly suggest that you journal, strongly suggest that you sit alone and contemplate on the why. Why don't you really follow through? Why not fully follow and really just be there? You might be surprised on the answers that come out. I am hoping to get folks who just come in to quote unquote get something, get answers, get a bose, get their readings, and just boop, they go away, to stay and to make our community stronger. But, a huge but, if you feel that this is not for you, perhaps it's time to find something that fits you, like a spiritual glove, just for you, so that you are more complete, so that it's not just about a sometimes thing, or, that once a year when you do that special thing at, priest so-and-so's house. Because everyone deserves to be spiritually fulfilled. Everyone. If you need more inspiration, because I also find that inspiration can come from a lot of places, I'd like to remind you of our inspiration page, where we love to put graphics because it can change your mind, that to know that you're not alone, that Orisha's always there, that there are things around you that are always there. So if you're on the fence, go out and check www.orishawisdom.com/inspiration. But don't worry, you don't have to do it right now. I will put this on the show notes and you can go check that out in there. And I like putting things out that are relative to my beliefs. So it's all going to be Orisha and Egun based. Everyone deserves to find a faith that is fulfilling to them. Something that no matter what, fills your heart. A faith that when you are sad, when you are feeling lost, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling fear and any of those negative feelings, that you can go to that faith and that it's going to fill you and give you what you need. A faith that when you are grateful and when you're feeling grateful, you can reach out and you can send out that grateful energy back. A faith that you're so connected to that it's on your mind every single day. Well, that is the plan. That is the goal. And Everyone deserves that. That leaves us with the fanatic or respectful question. Well, that's really up to you. And when a person tells you this, I think that it's also good to know not to judge, because everybody is going through their own thing, through their own journey, and you can't change others. You can only plant a seed and they can change themselves. Maybe they're just very scared of committing. Maybe they saw you dressing in white for a week and 7 days and they are terrified of what's going to happen to them. We just don't know where they are in their journey. We don't want to judge when somebody tells you that, but let that be if you know that that person comes in to get their spiritual things, their special work, their abodes, their readings. Let's not judge them. And they have their own work to do. But we can just impart a little of the why. Why does this happen? Wouldn't you be happier somewhere that you know you're fully there, 100% and present all the time? So maybe we could just do that for them. And if it is for you, I ask you that you just look inside. Ask yourself those hard questions. I don't expect anyone who does these things to come back in a day and say, okay, I'm in, I got my answer. It might take you a week. It might take you 6 months. It might take you a year to find out the why. Why you say that you're not a fanatic you respect, but you still are taking from the traditions. Why do you do that? And once you look in and you have your answer, I encourage you to go through with it. Whatever it is. If this is not for you, find what you need. If this is for you, come all in. Enjoy your journey. No matter what, enjoy your journey. We've reached the conclusion of this special 10th episode of the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. I'm super excited, and I'm so glad that you have spent your time with me. For show notes, please go to www.orishawisdom.com/session 10. So session 10. In there, I will put the resources for positivity that we discussed, all of the show notes of anything that we covered, and really, may all of the elevated ancestors and the Orisha bless you immensely. Until next time, Odabo!
Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast. Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha is all around us. Be blessed, and until next time.